So I'm JJ and I'm the founder and director of Wiilma. It's been a very difficult year because of COVID-19. We haven't been able to deliver services in the community that we serve in terms of mental health and well-being, arts and music programs. And this was our opportunity today to really try to give members of our group something that they really needed, which was an opportunity to perform. A lot of people have been locked down, locked in for months, if not most of the year. And these are people who regularly perform and sing and dance, and this is really therapeutic for them. It's what helps them to get through life, and they haven't been able to do that for a really long time. Music hall is what people would access for entertainment before radio and television. So we had music halls all around the country, especially London, and now that's gone. And what Wiilma's trying to do is we're trying to keep music hall as a genre alive, because unfortunately there aren't enough younger people kind of learning music hall and the beauty and the comedy and the magic of music hall. And so Wiilma, we're trying in our way to keep the genre alive, because it's got heritage value, it's got cultural value, and it's got historical value, and it also brings people together.
Music hall's really important to me because it was really Britain's first pop music. Many years ago, back in the heyday was in the 1890s. It really was the pop music of its day. It was such an important part of social culture, and most importantly, it wasn't for the elite, it wasn't for the rich, it was music made by the people, for the people, and that's what made it so special. I think music hall songs, especially the comedy ones, are really important during this awful time that we're going through. And I think if they can laugh at some silly song that we're performing in a silly costume, like the one that I'm wearing, then that is brilliant, and hopefully it will give everyone a good laugh.
Hello, my name is Chris Robbins. I'm the Mayor of the London Borough of Waltham Forest. Wiilma is one of our wonderful partners in Waltham Forest. They're a very new charity, but the work they've done has been absolutely tremendous and really valued by Waltham Forest Council. They've done a whole range of support work, education work, and today is an example of how they are reaching out into our community to bring joy into our families' lives. I hope that we have a long relationship with Wiilma, and I hope indeed that you will have a wonderful time enjoying this concert today.
Oh, whether you sit in a red plush store, when the busy day is done and you want to have some fun, let's all go to the music hall. Yes! My lords, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the good old days, good old British musical here in the borough of Waltham Forest. And we've trawled all the back alleyways of the East End of London looking for talent. And have we got some for you? Well, to condense it, we can say that we have got a mixed package. And she's coming on later on in the programme. But first of all, let me introduce to you our musical director, Mr. Andrew Charity. Just down the road here in Waltham Forest, we have a long street market called Walthamstow Market. You might have traversed it now and again. It goes on and on. Well, you're about to meet one of the stallholders from Walthamstow Market. No, not selling underwear or belts or cotton sheets. She's on the fruit and veg stall. Well, it's her stall, and she's very particular. She shines all the fruit up and gets them really polished. And she doesn't like the clients or the customers touching her handiwork, especially her plums. And she shouts out to them, "Please don't touch my plums. Here she is to tell you all about it now, Miss Fiona Slater.
Come on, ladies and gents, get your lovely ripe apples, oranges, pears, all lovely and ready to eat. I once worked for a fruiterer, the finest ever seen. His fruit was firm and fresh and hard, and for the most part clean. The ladies came from far and near to sample his supply, but when the mums reached for his plums, the fruiterer would cry. You can touch me berries, but you can't touch me plums. You can touch me cherries, but be careful with those thumbs. Squeeze me limes 1,000 times from now till winter comes. I beg you each, enjoy a peach, but please don't touch my plums. He was very, very sensitive about his blooming plums. A titled lady came one day, she had a strange request. She'd promised some plum pudding to a very royal guest. I understand your plums, sir, are inordinately large. I'll feel a few, and if it's true, I don't care what you charge. No. You can touch me apples, my bananas and me pears, me nectarines, me tangerines and all me other wares. The Queen's own guard could ride up hard with sabres, plumes and guns, and I'd salute, say have a fruit, but please don't touch my plums. He was very, very sensitive about his blooming plums. Oh, you can grope me cantaloupe and I won't hardly mind. Also stroke me artichoke and anything you find. Act like felons with me melons and we'll still be chums. Try some of those, try some of these. I beg you all on bended knees. I've got so much for you to squeeze. But please, don't touch my plums.
Our next artist, Mr. J.J. Kuhn, better known as J.J. to us all, has come into a great deal of money, a legacy, and it's on one condition. The legacy states that in order to get the legacy, he must always wear the hat that was left to him. Consequently, people ask him, where did you get that hat? Ladies and gentlemen, JJ.
Now, how I came to get this hat is very strange and funny. Grandfather died and left to me his property and money. And when the will it was read at, they told me straight and flat, if I would have his money, I must always wear his hat. Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that tile? Isn't it a knobby one in just a proper style? I should like to have one just the same as that. Wherever I go they shout, hello, where did you get that hat? If I go to the opera house in the opera season, there's someone sure to shout at me without the slightest reason. If I go to a concert hall to have a jolly spree, there's someone in the party who is sure to shout at me. Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that tile? Is it not a knobby one in just the proper style? I should like to have one just the same as that. Wherever I go, they shout hello. Where did you get that hat? At 21, I thought I would to my sweetheart get married. The people in the neighbourhood had said too long we tarried. So off to church we went right quick, determined to get wed. I had not long been in there when the parson to me said, "Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that tile? Isn't it a nobby one in just the proper style? I should like to have one just the same as that." Wherever I go, they shout hello. Where did you get that hat? That hat, where did you get that tile? Isn't it a nobby one in just the proper style? I should like to have one just the same as that. Wherever I go, they shout hello. Where did you get that hat?
We can see at the moment there's so many problems that are surfacing about lack of diversity, which hopefully it's high on the government's agenda and they'll start addressing it. People need to feel, and Wiilma, people need to feel included in every aspect of their life, in drama, music, television. Just they need to see themselves represented and feel that they're part of everything else. It is a mixed community. It's just not about colour either. It's about disability and disadvantage and people who can't speak for themselves. Organisations like Wiilma can speak for them.
Musical is all about joining in. The audience love to join in, and the most popular musical song ever is about to be performed for you. It's top of the charts in those days, and it still has relevance today. It's all about people that can't get universal credit or housing benefit. And what do they do when they're in such a fix? They do a moonlight flit. And this is what this story is all about. Her old man said, "Follow the van." Yes, it's the Cotlinets song. My old man said, "Follow the van." Would you welcome Miss Ola Roberts?
We had to move away, the rent we couldn't pay. The moving van came round just after dark. There was me and my old man shoving things inside the van, which we'd often done before, let me remark. Well, we packed all we could pack in the van, and that's a fact. And we got inside all we could get inside. Then we packed all we could pack on the tailboard at the back, till there wasn't any room for me to ride. And my old man said, "Follow the van and don't dilly-dally on the way." Off went the van with me unpacked in it. I followed on with me old Cocklinet. Well, I dillied, I dallied, dallied and I dillied, lost me way and don't know where to roam. Well, I stopped on the way to have the old off quarter, and I can't find my way home. Oh, I'm in such a mess. Don't know the new address, don't even know the bleeding neighbourhood. And I feel as if I might have to stay out overnight, and that ain't gonna do me any good. Well, I don't make no complaint, but I'm coming over faint. What I need now is a good substantial feed. And I sort of kind of feel if I soon don't have that meal, I shall have to rob the linnets of his seed. And my old man said, "Follow the van and don't dare
musical programmes usually have a cross-dressing number. Vesta Tilley and Ella Shields made these songs famous. Although they were female, they impersonated the man, which was quite intriguing in those Victorian days. So now, would you welcome Miss Elaine Elliott with From Marble Arch to Leicester Square.
To boast about the aristocrats I know. In fact, I should be disgraced for showing such beastly taste. If ever I meet a lord or earl, I pass serenely by. It isn't because I'm fey or proud. I'll tell you the reason why. Since I came down from Oxford, I've been aiming at higher things. And now amongst my friends I number princes, dukes and kings. I know the Prince of Monaco, he's a bosom friend of mine. I've had cigars and ginger ales with the Duke of Baden-Baden and the Prince of Wales. I know the Emperor of Japan, I've met the King of Spain, I do declare. In fact, I know every public house from Marble Arch to Leicester Square. My Peter, they say, was just the same when he was as old as me. He used to drink quarts of sham with a fellow who ruled Siam. They tell me that with the Duke of York his friendship was sublime. He'd get to his house in the morning, yes, and leave there at closing time. I like to do as father did whenever the Duke's about. I was there just after daybreak, and they've only just thrown me out. I know the Prince of Monaco, he's a bosom friend of mine. I've had cigars and ginger ales with the Duke of Baden-Baden and the Prince of Wales. I know the Emperor of Japan, I've met the King of Spain, I do declare. In fact, I know every public house from Marble Arch to Leicester Square. In fact, I know every public house from Marble Arch to Leicester Square.
Our next artist, Mr. Clive Bennett, is celebrated for his community work and his wonderful characterisations. He's got a vast array of costumes and makeup and props, all these sort of things, and it doesn't matter what costume or wig he wears, they all look the same. So here now, would you welcome as Captain Ginger, Mr. Clive Bennett.
A soldier once was I, by Jingo much admired. The army lost a treasure on the day that I retired. They begged of me to leave, they asked me as a boon. They said me fiery whiskers made the guns go off too soon. But hang it, peace or war, to me it's all the same. The ladies, bless 'em, mashing 'em has always been me game. Mashed 'em years ago, when I was in my prime. I'm known as Ginger, Captain Ginger, Ginger all the time. Ginger, Ginger, they all know Captain Ginger. Jolly old pot, OT ot, 95 in the shade, what? I love the ladies, not one of them would I injure. All the girls are fond of gin, ginger. I've been in action twice, and both were blazing hot. The first was in Limpopo land, and wounded there I got. When I recall it now, it hurts me peace of mind. I stooped to pull me socks up, and a spear stuck in behind. But action number 2 was quite a different sort. To tell the truth, it took place in a breach of promise court. Plaintiff told her tale. When she proved it true, the judge said, "You'll be thankful, miss, he didn't marry you." Ginger, Ginger, they all know Captain Ginger. Jolly old pot, 80 odd, 95 in the shade, what? I love the ladies, not one of them would I injure. All the girls are fond of gin, ginger. When I look back and think, tut, what sport I've had. In certain quarters I'm afraid my reputation's bad. While strolling through the park or riding in the row, I'm bound to merely be polite to ladies whom I know. Ah, Countess, how do you do? I knew her as a girl. She sang in comic opera long before she met the Earl. Ah, there's the Duchess. I almost made a fluke. We never speak as we pass by. It might upset the Duke. Ginger, they all know Captain Ginger. Jolly old pot, 80 odd, 95 in the shade, what? I love the ladies, not one of them would I injure. All the girls are fond of gin, ginger. Ginger, they all know Captain Ginger. Jolly old pot, 80 odd, 95 in the shade, what? I love the ladies, not one of them would I injure. All the girls are fond of gin, ginger. All the girls are fond of gin, ginger.
About her morning promenade, as she is an arbitress of fashion, would you welcome Miss Janet Evans?
Since Mother Eve in the garden long ago started the fashion's been a passion. Eve wore a costume we might describe as brief. Still, every season brought its change of a leaf. She'd stare if she could come to town. Oh, what would Mother Eve say of my new Parisian gown? When I take my morning promenade, oh, quite a fashion gown on the promenade. Oh, I don't mind nice boys staring hard if it satisfies their desire. Do you think my dress is a little bit, just a little bit, not too much of it, though it shows my shape just a little bit? That's the little bit the boys admire. Fancy those girls in the prehistoric days. Each wore a bearskin covering her fair skin. Lately Salome has charmed us to be sure, wearing a row of beads and not much more. Fancy me dressing like that too. I'm sure the Daily Mirror man would want an interview. When I take my morning promenade, oh, quite a fashion card on the promenade. Oh, I don't mind nice boys staring hard if it satisfies their desire. Do you think my dress is a little bit, just a little bit, not too much of it, though it shows my shape just a little bit? That's the little bit the boys admire. I heard that grandmother wore a crinoline, then came the bustle, golly what a tussle. Women were tied up and loaded down with dress. Now at fashion plates decree we wear much less.
we now have a touching tale of misunderstanding and heartache. It's called After the Ball.
Once a young maiden climbed her old aunt's knee. Tell me a story, please, auntie, do. Why are you single? No home at all. You have no children. You have no home. I had a sweetheart long years ago. Where is he now, pet? You will soon know. List while I tell you. Try to explain. I believed him faithless after the ball. After the ball was over, after the break of morn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars all gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read them all, many a hope that has vanished after the ball. Bright lights were gleaming in the grand ballroom. Softly the music playing sweet tunes. There stands my sweetheart, my love, my all. You wish some water, leave me alone. When next I saw him, there stood a maid, kissing my sweetheart as lovers will. Down fell my glass pet, broken, that's all. Just like my heart was after the ball. After the ball was over, after the break of morn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars all gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read them all, many a hope that has vanished after the ball. Long years have passed, pet. I have never wed. True to my sweetheart, though he's now dead. He tried to tell me, tried to explain. I was his sister. So the letter read. That's why I'm single, no home at all. I believed him faithless after the ball. After the ball was over, after the break of dawn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars were gone, many a heart is aching if you could read them all. Many a hope that has vanished after the ball.
Do you know, my friend is on these pills, you know, the doctor gave them to him. They're ever so strong because he has to swallow them quick, otherwise you get a stiff neck. And he's on these double dose pills, you know. One's Viagra and one's Prozac. And he takes them both together because then, if nothing happens, he's not bothered.
Today I've been busy removing, and I'm all over fidgety fitch. My last digs were on the embankment, the third seat from Waterloo Bridge. But the cooking and oh, the attendance didn't happen to suit me so well. So I ordered my man to pack up and look out for another hotel. He did, and the next place is extra, I vow. Just wait till I tell you where I'm living now. I live in Trafalgar Square with 4 lions to guard me, fountains and statues all over the place, and the Metropole staring me right in the face. I'll own it's a trifle drafty, but I look at it this way, see, if it's good enough for Nelson, it's quite good enough for me. Spare some change, lady, spare some change, mister, for an old soldier. The beds ain't as soft as they could be, still the temperature's never too high, and it's nice to see swells who are passing look on you with the envious eye. And then when you wake in the morning, just fancy how nice it would be to have a good walk for your breakfast and the same for your dinner and tea. There's many a toff up in Park Lane tonight who'd only be glad to have my appetite. I live in Trafalgar Square with 4 lions to guard me, fountains and statues all over the place, and the Metropole staring me right in the face. I'll own it's a trifle drafty, but I look at it this way, you see, if it's good enough for Nelson, it's quite good enough quite good enough for me.
Our next artiste is Mr. Paul Keneally, who lives in this borough in Leytonstone, and he's got a marvellous house, and he loves living in London, and he's got some marvellous views from his upper storey windows. Well, I say marvellous views if it wasn't for the houses in between. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome Mr. Paul Keneally?
Now, if you see my little backyard, what a pretty spot you'd cry. It's a picture on a sunny summer's day. With the turnip tops and cabbages what people doesn't buy, I makes it on a Sunday look all gay. Now the neighbours thinks I grows them, and you'd fancy you're in Kent, or at Epsom if you gazed into the mews. It's a wonder that the landlord doesn't want to raise the rent, because we got such knobby distant views. Oh, it really is a very pretty garden, and Chingford to the eastward could be seen, and with a ladder and some glasses you could see to Hackney Marshes, if it wasn't for the houses in between. There's a bunny shares the egg box with a cross-eyed cock and hen, though they has got the pip and him the moth. In the doghouse by the line post there was pigeons 9 or 10, till someone took a stick and knocked them off. Now the dust cart, though it seldom comes, is just like harvest home, and we means to rig a dairy up somehow. Put the donkey in the washhouse with some imitation horns, 'cause we're teaching him to moo just like a cow. Oh, it really is a very pretty garden, and Hendon to the westward could be seen, and by clinging to the chimney you could see across to Wembley, if it wasn't for the houses in between. Though the gasworks isn't wirelets, they improves the rural scene, for mountains they would very nicely pass. With the mushrooms in the dust hole and the cucumbers so green, we only needs a bit of hothouse glass. Now I wears this milkman's straw hat, and I sits outside all day, like a ploughboy cove what's mizzled o'er the lea. But when I goes indoors at night, they don't know what I say, 'cause me language gets as yokel as could be. Oh, it really is a very pretty garden, and soapworks from the rooftop could be seen, and if I had a rope and pulley, I'd enjoy the breeze more fully, if it wasn't for the houses in between. And with a ladder and some glasses you could see to Hackney Marshes, if it wasn't for the houses in between.
Well, I would say go online, look up Wiilma. There's lots of stuff online of what they're doing at the moment and in the past, and how they're accessing people in the community. Now, more than ever, people are suffering with mental health problems through being isolated, not being able to mix with their families, being in care homes, not being able to touch the people they love. And music and sing-along music is the sort of thing that's going to lift people's spirits, and hopefully, they'll benefit from it. I hope they enjoy it as much as we've enjoyed doing it for Wiilma today.
came to get this hat is very strange and funny. Grandfather died and left to me his property and money. And when the will it was read at, they told me straight and flat, if I would have his money, I must always wear his hat. Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that tile? Isn't it a knobby one in just a proper style? I should like to have one just the same as that. Wherever I go they shout, hello, where did you get that hat? If I go to the opera house in the opera season, there's someone sure to shout at me without the slightest reason. If I go to a concert hall to have a jolly spree, there's someone in the party who is sure to shout at me. Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that tile? Is it not a knobby one in just the proper style? I should like to have one just the same as that. Wherever I go they shout, hello, where did you get that hat? At 21 I thought I would to my sweetheart get married. The people in the neighbourhood had said too long we tarried. So off to church we went right quick, determined to get wed. I had not long been in there when the parson to me said,